Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirits. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you once again for tuning in to this week's show, and you're all set for a wonderful, interesting show this week as we're going to be diving deep with the topic present moment consciousness. Also, we have your channeling from the world of spirit, which sees me become a vessel for spirit to communicate their teachings through. And then later on in the show, we will have this week's energy forecast reading for you, which will hopefully help you navigate your way through the course of this week. So without further ado, we'll crack on with today's subject matter, which is present moment consciousness. So what am I talking about when I say this? I'm referring to that time is merely an illusion. Everything is happening all in the now moment. So whether that's the past, whether that's the now, whether that's the future, it is all happening right here, right now. And it's where we place our consciousness that is the destination in which what we observe in our present moment consciousness. So with this being the case, theoretically we could move, if we choose to do so, in any direction of time, depending on how we place our consciousness and where we place it, and the intentions that we set. Now, I know we've been destined to be present in our physical body in this particular timeline that we're experiencing. But if we go into meditation processes, we do have that capability to skip between timelines as well and observe some of these past events, future events that haven't happened as yet. Well, at least that's how we're perceiving it anyway. But like we said at the beginning, everything is happening now. So it's almost as if we're changing channels on a TV set. We have the option to do that at any moment in time. Now, with this being the case, everything is happening now. And the way that works is there are layers of time, but they're all stacked upon one another. So if you imagine like an escalator, or we'll use a better analogy. We'll use the analogy of a record, okay? You put a record on the turntable. All of those tracks on that record are on the same side, say side A. All of the tracks are on there. And yet we have that choice in any one moment to listen to any one of those tracks on that record. So it's a case where we're using that analogy again. It's a case where we're placing that needle on the record. That's what we're going to experience. So it's like that with our consciousness. So wherever we place our consciousness will determine what we experience. And so it's always an advantage when we're aware of our own self-worth, our own self-development, and how we are in our physical sense, our ethics, our morals, our state of being, because that way we have a firm foundation to work from so that we can then skip forward and backwards in time in our now moment, making that conscious choice rather than it being dictated to us. Now, obviously, with this being the case, I would term us as energy in a physical body. But our true essence, I believe anyway, is that we are multiple dimensional beings. Like I was alluding to earlier, we have that potential to move in any direction of time that we wish to do so. And it all depends upon our thoughts and our choices and the energy that we're emitting and how much we're observing and what we're choosing to observe and what we're choosing to move into on an energetic level. Now, with this being the case, we have the choice in any one given moment to turn our life around, or maybe stay stuck in our reality. And we're always one choice away from doing that. So it's entirely up to us, because we do have that power, if you like, of free will. And when we tap into that power of free will, we can, like I say, move in any direction what we want to do on our timeline there within our life. With this being the case, with each choice that we make, an alternate universe or an alternate version of ourself exists. And so when we place our intention on that new reality in the now moment, we experience that, shall we say, duplicate being of ourselves. Yes, everything may be similar, but there'll be slight alterations within this different timeline connected to the different choice that you've made within your life. Also, the previous choices or opportunities to make alternative choices are still running parallel to the current choice that you're making at the moment. So you have the opportunity at any time, at any moment, to make an alternative choice. And again, it's where you place your intention, where you set that energy. That is what you're going to encounter, what you're going to experience. So it's very up to you what you're wanting to experience in your life. Now, I know some of you will be thinking, yes, but we have soul agreements, predetermined plans before we actually come down here in this physical body. I would agree and say, yes, we do. But it's up to us how we, shall we say, reach those key points on that timeline of our soul mission, if you like. So if we want to make an alternative choice, we will arrive at the same destination, yet we'll have a different experience of getting to that destination. Almost reminds me, if any of you are old enough to remember, there used to be some storybooks for children many, many years ago in the early 80s called Choose Your Own Adventure books. And what these books used to do is you would read the book as a standard book, and as you were going through the chapter there, it would give you a choice. If you would like to turn left down this road in the story, go to page 15. If you would like to carry on walking on this path, carry on reading from here. If you would like to turn right on this pathway in the storyline, go to page 85. And so all of them had an ending, but a different journey into getting to that ending. So it is my understanding and belief that this is where we are at with our free will and our intention. We can choose all these different pathways, but we all end up fulfilling our soul mission there. So using these different multiple beings, versions of ourselves, we can have different experiences, and we have the power to choose how we wish to experience our timeline in any one given moment. So also, there's a theory as well, and actually I've had it said to me a few times that people have actually said, oh, I saw you the other day, you was in this location, and you were smiling, you seemed to be in a world of your own, and you was just walking, smiling, and it was down this particular road where I saw you. And they would put money on it that they saw me there. They said, well, we thought it was weird because we said hello to you and you didn't, you was in a world of your own, didn't respond there. And so I've backtracked and I've said, well, actually, no, I wasn't there because I was in a different location entirely doing something completely different. I wasn't there at that moment in time. And they said, well, no, it was you because you was wearing this and you was doing that. And it was you, definitely. And so they were adamant that that was me. I was there. And obviously, to my experience, I wasn't. And, I showed them my diary. I told them where I was, what I was doing. And they looked baffled because they were adamant that that was me. So with this being the case, I I feel, and I've heard a few people talk about this before, that we do have that potential to project ourselves in multiple places, locations, and timelines at the same time. As I've just mentioned there, we're multiple dimensional beings. And so why not? Why can't people see the different versions of ourselves in the same reality? Obviously, we're focused upon what our intention is at that moment in time, but somebody else's intention might involve us on their timeline. And so they're going to see and experience us on their timeline. Now, I know this is sounding a little bit baffling and confusing, and I'll be honest with you, it does get me into that state of thinking as well. But from my understanding, what my spirit guides and the influences from the world of spirit tell me, we all have the capability of doing this. Multitasking as well. Multitasking. Paying it forward is another method that I've been encouraged to talk about many, many times, where, in fact, whatever choice we make in our life, we're paying that experience forward to serve our future self. Now, our future self, going along what we're talking about today, is actually happening now. So it's kind of baffling in a way, isn't it, to get our human mind around. So paying it forward to our future self, we're actually giving ourselves the opportunity now by saying yes and by doing something. So I would suggest whenever an opportunity arises for you, you say yes and you do it, because it will serve the multiple dimensional versions of yourself all in the same moment. Whew. Wow, it's a head scratcher, this one, isn't it? Anyway, another thing as well, your true power is actually in your now moment. The choices that you make shape your now, your past, and your future, all in that one moment. And there's a lot of us actually here, myself included at times, where we simply react to life. We're not being conscious about life. We're just reacting, almost giving life feedback by reacting, instead of taking that time just to reflect, to feel, and then consciously choose a course and a path of action that sits well with our soul, that serves us, the path of least resistance, the path that brings us that joy in our heart. Now, making those conscious choices will shape our reality for the betterment of our soul, for the betterment of those around us as well. So it's a case of us just pausing to reflect and then feeling that energy and then choosing consciously, rather than reacting out of, say, habit, reacting out of necessity, or other people making demands on you to make a decision. That is their energy influencing your energy. So they're trying to manipulate you in some way by changing your reality. So if you see where I'm going with this, it's time to pause, reflect, choose consciously, and then your timeline upon your soul lessons and soul journey will change, and you'll choose the path of least resistance with one of the multiple dimensional beings that you are. As I said earlier, the other versions of yourself will continue to exist, so you can kind of flip-flop between all of those multiple dimensional versions of yourself all at the same time, depending upon where your consciousness is and what choice you make will determine what, shall we say, physical version of yourself you are present in. Well, I'm confusing myself again. We're diving very, very deeply today, aren't we? But what I want to also talk about in this is time slips. Now, time slips, that is where, again, going back to what we're talking about, everything is happening in the now. It's where we see images or maybe physical things from what we would perceive of our past or even in our future. We see those events in the physical version of ourselves in the now, and we see them in the now moment as we're interacting with the now moment. Now, to give you an example of this, I've experienced this a couple of times in my lifetime. And one of the times, well, in fact, both of these events happened in the same location. So this has led me to believe that that location has some sort of special energy grid there, or some sort of portal, or some sort of energy is happening in that location. And it's not far from where I live at either. So it is in the town of Mansfield in Nottinghamshire. And with this being the case, I'll describe it to you. So upon driving in my vehicle, going up to the traffic lights, there's a crossroads there. A crossroads. Whether that crossroads is a prominent reason why this happens, because all of those energies are crossing and aligning, causing a point, an energy point. But anyway, I was there, this was a few years ago now, and I was waiting at the lights, at the crossroads, waiting for the lights to change. And I looked in my rear view and side mirror, and I was aware that there was a big green double-decker bus driving up behind me and parking up at the side of me, waiting for the lights to change. Now, what made this very interesting is that this bus it looked like a bus from the late 1960s, early 1970s. It was that style of bus. All of those buses in my location, my area, have been decommissioned. So you no longer see any of those buses knocking around here. And there were the sort of the buses where you have the plate at the back. Instead of having a door for a passenger to get on, there was a plate and a bar for the passenger to hold onto the bar, step up to the plate and get onto the bus. Well, it had one of those. Now, to my knowledge, those have been discontinued, because of health and safety reasons as well. But certainly there hasn't been any of those vehicles around this area for, I would say, the early 1980s at the very latest. And the reason why I say this is because whilst I was there waiting at the lights, I saw this bus, this green bus, double-decker bus, driving up behind me and parking at the side of me, ready to take a turning to the right. So I was intrigued by this. I turned my head. I could hear the bus. I could see the bus. And I didn't think anything else of it. Just, oh, that's an unusual bus. That's weird for that to be out. And the lights were still on red. I looked forward, focusing on the lights. And then I looked to the right of me again. And that bus had disappeared. That bus wasn't there anymore. Yet the lights were still on red. No bus had moved. No vehicle had moved. But that bus wasn't there anymore. Yet I could hear it. I could see it. And then that's when it dawned on me, actually, that bus was from the late 60s, early 1970s. It didn't belong in this timeline. I haven't seen any of those buses around here. There was no bus that turned right in that lane where the bus was parked. And it was such a bizarre, I got a chill down my spine after witnessing that. And it was absolutely incredible. So to me, that is an example of a time slip where the past has overlapped our present. So there's been some sort of either alignment with my vibration, maybe in my thoughts, maybe aligning with the ley lines and the residual energy within that area of the land there. Or maybe I'm just like flipping in between the timelines in the now moment, consciously choosing to do that and witnessing that there as well. And also a similar example to you, this happened to me on a separate timeline, but in the same location. Again, pulling up to the same crossroads, the same traffic lights, and looking in the rearview mirror, I could see what I could only describe as a Ford Granada from the 1970s. And back then, those cars were huge. There were massive hunks of metal, so to speak. Now, this was a gold Ford Granada, and it looked in pristine, immaculate condition because I saw the sun gleaming off of the gold paintwork there. It was moving towards me, but from behind as I was looking in the rear view mirror. And then I was intrigued because I thought, oh, that's interesting. I haven't seen one of those driving around for quite some time. With being a late 70s child, I can't remember any of that. Either I was too young to remember it, but I have a fondness for the 70s nostalgia anyway. But for me to see that, it stuck in my mind that much more prominently with me having that interest in the 1970s. And so looking in the rear view mirror, that was there. Again, I looked towards the lights to see if the lights were going to change so that I could proceed and move forward. I looked back into the rear view mirror, and that moving car, that Ford Granada from the 1970s, had disappeared. Yet it was there a second ago. It hadn't turned. It had nowhere else to go other than forward. And it had just vanished. It wasn't there, yet it was there a second ago. I could hear it, I could experience it as well, yet it was gone. So I believe that is another example where the timelines, the time slips were overlapping. So the past was overlapping with the present moment, which I was focusing on. Maybe it was my consciousness, because how often have we all done this when we're sat at traffic lights and we're waiting patiently, our mind wanders, we're kind of relaxed in a state of bliss in a way, maybe listening to the music that we have in the vehicle playing. And so we're just waiting patiently. I believe that has something to do with it. The fact that we're in sort of like a meditative state of mind will give us that opportunity where we can experience time slips, where we can go in and out of various timelines in our now moment as those timelines overlap there. So it was a very bizarre, peculiar experience. And what I would like to do when I do get the opportunity at some point is actually do a little bit of an investigation in that location, just up the road from me, maybe some sort of vigil there, and get into that state of mind again where I do feel relaxed and at ease, and just observe what I can experience in that location, because it's only ever happened to me in that location. And the fact that I've experienced it twice is quite phenomenal, really. So there must be something in it as well. But also, I would like to talk about grounding and making ourselves present, because as I've been saying to you, this is where our true power is, our true essence is. So in order to make ourselves present, grounding is a great tool to bring into our every single day regime. So grounding, what am I saying when I'm talking about this? I'm talking about anchoring our energies into the now. And what I generally do is I visualize that I have tree roots growing out of the soles of my feet, going deep within Mother Earth. Now, this is all done in the mind. You visualize it. And then when you're visualizing it, you experience an energy exchange where you feel that energy flowing through you, and you feel that energy flowing out of the soles of your feet, anchoring you in that present moment consciousness. And by doing that, it will help you to understand what choices you have to make. It will help you to stand in your power, steadfast and strong, and you'll be more observant. Now, some of you may find that difficult to visualize that. So another technique that I'd like to share with you in order for you to be in your present moment consciousness a lot more than what you may be in already is to focus your attention on your physical senses within your body. So I'm talking about your sight, your hearing, your taste, your touch, your smell, the temperatures, the emotions. I'm talking about all of those. And when we focus on those one by one, for example, if you're in your living room and you're in a bit of a daydream and you're wanting to snap out of that daydream, the first thing that I would recommend that you do is focus your attention on your vision and move your head and look around the room that you're located in. First of all, look at the colours in that environment. And as you're looking at the colours, think the colours in your mind. Oh, I'm seeing purple, or I'm seeing cream. whatever colours you're seeing. And then I want you to look at the textures within that room and describe those textures to yourself in your mind there. And then I want you to listen to the sounds you're experiencing in that environment. So, are there cars driving outside of that property? Can you hear birds twittering in the background? Are there creaks from the floorboards within the property? Can you hear the radiators clanking? And just focus on each one of these experiences. Give them that time in your mind. Then I want you to be aware of the temperature changes within that environment. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it tepid? What is it? And just validate that by thinking it, giving it your time and attention in your mind. And then the sense of touch. I want you to reach out and touch an item in front of you. And whilst you're touching that item, again, I want you to feel that item and understand and describe in your own mind what the textures are. Is it a hard or soft surface? Is it hot or is it cold? Is it malleable? Is it flexible? And go through all of these things. And by doing all of this, including your senses of smell, what smells are you smelling in that now moment? And again, go through that process where you're describing it to yourself in your mind, as well as the tastes. You may have a flavor in your mouth, a taste that you can experience. Again, describe that to yourself in your mind. And what this will do is it will gather your essence and pull it into that now moment consciousness, that reality. And when you're in that now moment consciousness, reality, everything will become amplified to you. It will become sharper. Your vision will be sharper. Your experience of that reality will be ever present. It will just be a lot stronger than it was previously to you doing these exercises. So whenever you find yourself in a bit of a daydream, not being present, maybe you're thinking about past issues, or maybe you're thinking about your future that hasn't occurred yet, to get yourself back into the seat of your power, use these exercises to do that. And also stamping your feet like so can bring you into the now moment, can ground your energy. And again, the emphasis on grounding your energy is to pull you back into your present moment consciousness. And that's where, when you observe, you can make very positive life choices that will help shape and create your reality. So rather than reacting to things, you'll be choosing consciously and you'll be creating your reality, rather than it being dictated to you by the choices of others and you following the energetic influences of others. So being present, being grounded is an essential part of taking your power back, and this is where you can shape your reality. So I hope today's talk has at least give you something to think about. Apologies if it has made you scratch your head and think, what is this guy on about? Honestly, my mind is aching from trying to grasp this concept or these concepts. I understand that, because even now, I'm the same. And this information is coming to you from my spirit guides, and they've influenced me to talk about this subject. And they've given me the content in which to talk about as I'm sharing it with you. So I'm kind of learning on the journey with you as I'm delivering it to you as well. So yes, it's certainly food for thought, very interesting food for thought. And I feel as though you may need to listen to this again to absorb the content and maybe come to your own conclusions about present moment consciousness. Well, now we're moving into the next segment of the show, which is this week's channeling from Spirit. So this will see me becoming a vessel in order for the spiritual communicators to blend their energies with mine and allow their wisdom to come through. What you will notice is that my voice changes as it is being manipulated by the communicators in order for it to make the channeling a lot more easier for them to come through with that information there. So don't be alarmed by that. And obviously I set the intentions before going into channeling and put that protection up as well. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's channeling from the world of spirit.
Hello. Thank you for allowing me to come through in this broadcast. I have many things to communicate with you. One of those things is connected to what you would describe as the spiritual realm. And shall we call them entities or spirit beings coming through into your physical dimension? Although you must understand it is not as physical as what you are led to believe, as everything is in a constant flux of transformation. Well, we want to let you know that at this moment in time, and in all moments in time, but more obvious now than ever, there's a lot of, shall we use the term, spirit beings and communicators coming through into your dimension. These spirit communicators only bring love and healing, yet there are some entities or spirits that are, shall we say, trapped on your dimension simply because they choose not to transcend and go into the light. A lot of these beings are now being forced to face their fears and actually make that transition into the light. And because of this shift in perception, there's going to be a lot of what you would describe as happenings, unusual happenings in your environments, things moving, voices being heard, images being seen out of the corner of your eye, and a lot of activity on a spiritual level. This is because these spirit beings will need to be helped along their way to be reconnected with their soul path. The truth of the situation is coming to the surface, and that encapsulates what we're trying to say in a nutshell. The truth, energies, frequencies are forcing all lower base frequencies to come up to the surface and face their misdemeanors, their untruths, and do that soul rescue work and that inner work. There's a lot of that happening at the moment all around your physical dimension. Now, a lot of these spiritual entities will need that reassurance, will need that encouragement and love and healing so that they can make that transition into the world of light, back home. But having said that, there's also a lot of beings from the world of spirit that are spending quite a lot of time in your dimension, coming through intentionally to help you rise and shine from the doldrums of the old into the new. Now, the inspiration that is coming through will help you understand what is occurring in your dimension. The inspiration will help you recognize your own divinity and how you can interact with it on a daily basis. And when you do so, you will move mountains. Your belief systems will have to be let go of, obviously, in order to get to this level of transformation, but you will undoubtedly do it anyway. You will feel that calling, you will feel that pull, and you will do it regardless of the consequences. Not as if there is any consequences, only the fact that there'll be those individuals, the physical beings, that will still be on that vibration of fear. They will look at you a little bit unusual as you make this push forward in a higher dimensional frequency state of being. Now, a lot of the spirit communicators only come in love and light, as we've previously mentioned on here. And so their role, their job is to help you ascend and grow and understand the synchronicities of your life and on your life path. And those of you that are observing all of the signs and symbols and numbers and repetitive messages that we're pushing through so that you can at least understand the information, those of you that are understanding that will recognize that there's going to be a lot of ease and flow and grace in your life when you do so. Your manifestation powers will be amplified, so it is to your best advantage to be careful about what your dominant thought processes are, and also the energy and vibrations and actions that you are putting out into the ether, as you will be creating and manifesting at a higher and faster vibration. This being said, there's a lot of people that will be jealous of this creational energy that you're tapping into, and they'll think that you have some sort of special power or something of that nature, and we simply say that you all have this capability of manifesting and bringing through the things that you require on your timeline. However, those of you that aren't paying attention and aren't listening to the spiritual influences that are coming in at the moment aren't going to make that leap into that higher vibrational state of being. But with this being said, everybody returns to this state of being, just on a different, shall we say, different timeline, a different timeline to yours that are paying attention. So nobody is greater or lesser than one another. You'll also notice that the communications that do come in from spirit will be very, very significant and prominent in their understanding, the way that they're coming through. You'll experience spirit when you're driving in a vehicle. You'll experience spirit when you're in your home, when you're traveling. It will be more obvious than now that spirit is literally always around you wherever you go. And in fact, you're operating on different frequency bands, and because your vibration is heightening that little bit much more, it will amalgamate with your own frequency, and so you'll have that experience of interacting with it intelligently and communicating with it on a vibration of love. So be aware of that. There's nothing to be frightened of. Only love, personal development and growth is being offered whilst you go through this unusual state of being in your history on the earth plane. But that's enough from me. I've been instructed now to step aside and allow another communicator to come through and deliver some additional information. Thank you for embracing this wisdom, and we wish you well in your future and now endeavors. Thank you. It's great when you know what to do, isn't it, in all situations? I know that sounds quite a big statement to start off this communication with, but what we're saying is you already have the answers. You've had them all the time. They've been kept within your heart vibration. So when you're feeling that a little bit lonely or feeling a little bit disconnected from everything that the previous communicator has just been describing, the techniques, the way to communicate with spiritual energy and spiritual beings, then all you have to do is simply connect in with your heart. You have the tools to do it. I don't care whether you're a medium, whether you're a large, whether you're an extra large. No, I'm joking, obviously. No, I'm talking about in terms of your awakening. It doesn't matter one jot. Trust, listen, and let it come through you. You'll know what to do when it occurs, and you'll find yourself communicating and talking with spirit energy like you would a regular person, somebody in your own dimension. It will feel very, very naturalistic, and it will have a sense of ease and growth and respect when you do these communications. But another reason, shall I say, why I've been permitted to come through is I just want to tell you a little bit about your own personal development. There will be a lot of you that will be ascending to such a degree that you'll feel like your heart chakra will be fit to burst. The amount of love and joy that will be filtering through that will be phenomenal, like nothing you've ever encountered in your life. And this love vibration will ricochet wherever you go, wherever you walk, whoever you choose to spend your time with, or at least go share your vibration with. That information that energy information will be spread and a domino effect will be caused. And with doing that, one by one, it's going to shift the vibration of your planet, of the Earth. Having said that, there's going to be a select amount of people that have chosen not to go down that path at this moment in time. Now, we're not condoning or judging these individuals, because it's all down to personal growth and ascension and evolution and lessons learned and things of that nature. But just bear in mind that a lot of these individuals have made that conscious choice in their soul plan before they came down here in this incarnation. So it's not something they can necessarily just change and fix in a heartbeat. They've already agreed to do it, so they might go down a pathway there where it alludes, or it seems that they're going in the direction of the love and the light. But in actual fact, they made that soul agreement so that they could emanate lower frequencies. So those souls that are expanding their awareness and their consciousness can actually do that. Because if you can understand, there needs to be dark and there needs to be light. There needs to be that balance, because without the dark, you wouldn't know the light. Without the light, you wouldn't know the dark. And so it's a case of these energies, different frequencies are there to serve the greater good. Although from your perception, at times you feel as though that, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. That's really dark. That's low base frequency stuff. Well, yes, you're observing that because you're from a lighter perspective, but without having that knowledge, it would just be, wouldn't it? It would just exist. And you would be part of that. And what we're suggesting to you, that you are part of that, but it's helping you to catapult into these higher frequencies so that you can, in turn, help the greater collective, just like those individuals that are connecting to, shall we say, lower-based energies, frequencies. In many respects, they're helping, unknowing to them, but on a soul contract level, they are helping the consciousness and evolution of the planet by adhering to their soul contract, walking their path. But it's going to be even more obvious now that there is a significant split in your society where a lot is going to happen, to the point where tears will be shed, emotions will be running high, and, shall we say, the mentality of your planet is going to change. And it needs to be observed rather than absorbed, because if you absorb it, then it's going to pull you under, like those individuals that have elected to do the very same. It's entirely up to you. You can swing either way. But we just want to make you aware of the situation, that there's light and there's dark, and there's a reason why there's light and dark, and that you all play a role in order to facilitate the greater good. Okay, so I've been informed that it's my time to leave you, and I'd like to thank you for listening to this transmission. I hope that's made a little bit of sense, but there's a little bit of sound healing that's going to come through for you in a minute by another communicator. So just close your eyes and absorb these frequencies that are going to come through. They will help you connect to your soul path, and whatever persuasion that you chose on your soul path, it's going to help that come to the foreground more strongly after hearing these energetic codes and frequencies that are coming through for you now. So here we go. Here's the channeling for you, the sound frequencies.
What a fantastic communication there from the communicators that came through today. What I did find absolutely fascinating about that is that the veil is thinning, and there's a lot of spiritual influences around us at the moment. And obviously, if we're paying attention to that, then we're going to be able to blend and also understand the symbology and the messages that are coming forward to help us. Also found it fascinating that there's a lot of souls making their transition now, lost souls that maybe have been trapped in this dimension for quite some time now, are actually going to be facing what they need to do in order to ascend, in order to expand and connect back to the truth of their vibration on their path there. With this in mind, obviously this is a form of soul rescue for them, but the fact that the vibrations, the truth vibrations, are encouraging these souls to actually naturally arrive at that destination is fantastic in itself, isn't it? I feel anyway. And of course, the paranormal activity, the increase in that as well. I'm sure I don't speak for myself when I say this, but I've noticed a vast change in that around my home. Lots of things move, lots of symbols are left, particularly heart shapes. I've had a spell where I keep seeing them every other day. They're forming in wires, in headphone cables, in charging cables. They just seem to be coming from nowhere. And then the truth vibrations, obviously, it's going to help everything change there as well. And the fact that we all have our own answers within our heart, and that when we pay attention to those feelings, those truth vibrations, we can then navigate our way through the course of our life a lot more easier as well as we do that, and leaving those love vibrational trails wherever we happen to be or go or speak with or interact with. We're passing that baton of light to those that need it in these times of change. What I did like about this transmission was the healing at the end there. I got chills. I got this feeling of warmth, this unconditional love. And I love the melody in that as well. The melody was gorgeous, wasn't it? Very different in itself, hearing a sound healing done in that way. So I really enjoyed that, this week's communication. I hope you did too. So next we're going to move on to the next segment of the show, this week's energy forecast reading. So hopefully this will help you navigate your way through the course of this week. Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for the week commencing Monday the 27th of March 2023. Now, those of you that have watched me work and do this before will know that I connect with my spirit guides and also consult the wisdom of the Angel Tarot cards. So what I'm about to do is just shuffle the pack and allow a card to come out at random for this week's energy forecast reading. And right on cue, one has just done that. So here's your card for this week's energy forecast reading. I'm now going to link into the vibration and energy of that. First of all, I feel that this week is going to be a very interesting one for you, as you're going to be delving deep within yourself. What feels right to you? You're going to be acknowledging the truth of who you are. Now, there will be certain triggers that will come forward, such as people, influencers, the situations around you, that will trigger you to actually, rather than reacting, go within and find out what makes you tick, what resonates with you, what doesn't. That sort of area of contrast within your life that encourages you to make more of a heartfelt decision. Now, this week will also see you removing that need to procrastinate and start and say yes to life, more so than what you ever have done in the past. Now, what I'm referring to with this is going to be opportunities, situations coming your way where at one time you would have procrastinated on it. You would have waited and waited and then gave an answer. Whereas this week we'll see you having to make an on-the-spot decision based upon how you're feeling upon that opportunity that's coming in. So learn to say yes more and trust that the universe has your back. Go with that energy, go with that flow, and you'll be so glad that you did, because as a result of you going through that, there's going to be other obstacles removed from your pathway and more sort of free falling into your soul path on your life course there. I also feel that this week there will be elements where you're feeling slightly under the weather. Now, with me saying this, I'm referring to, it feels like it's connected with your stomach area and feeling a little bit sick, and maybe a need to address the food that you're eating and maybe cause some sort of balance with the food and what you're drinking there. Your sensitivity is increasing as well. So with this being the case, it's going to have a reaction on your food. So just pay attention to that and adjust accordingly. There's going to be people around you that will be looking at you rather peculiarly, I can't even say the word, rather strangely this week. And the reason for that is simply your vibration has changed. You have more radical ideas than perhaps you've ever been given the permission to share amongst society, amongst your friends and family before. You're just feeling that confidence within yourself to be yourself and share those views. And with you doing that, it's going to raise an eyebrow or two. But my guides are saying not to let that take you off your course. Just carry on walking your walk and talking your talk. Everybody will come to their own alignment on their pathway. So the fact that you're in alignment with yours is fantastic, because you're going to help other people and encourage them to actually speak outside of the social narrative, so to speak, and dive a little bit deeper with the truths that you are sharing. Now, the truths that you are sharing are as what feels right to you and your observations, where before you've kept them to yourself. This week we'll see you sharing them and sharing those opinions, not out of judgment, not out of criticism, but simply out of your observations. You're going to share them, and with you sharing those, it's going to inspire others to reconsider their approach in life and maybe look at things slightly different. So you are encouraged to speak your truth in any one moment. So I'm going to turn the card over and go through that with you. So, okay, this card reads at the bottom, taking the next steps, bold and ambitious choices, partnering with others who share your dreams, expanding your plans, continue to move forward. So in many respects, that covers what Spirit have just told us about this week for you as well. A very interesting week indeed. So let's take a look around the card. We've got the number 2 there. So I'd like to encourage you to research the angel number meaning of number 2 on the internet. We've also got the symbolization of the fire as well, the flame. Now that could indicate new beginnings, light, warmth, heat, healing, passion as well entering your life there. And also it could indicate like a burning desire to do something new rather than carrying on with the same old situation. Step outside the box and just trust that passion there. We've got the letter Z there. Now, to me, that indicates Z's like such as zzz, such as sleeping, like you see that on a cartoon. The zzz. So a need for you to get the sleep that you're needing. And when you can have that opportunity to rest, recalibrate, please do take it, because it will serve you in the long run. Even though your mind's saying, well, I haven't got time, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do this. Actually, what you need to do is listen to your body, listen to your heart, listen to your soul, and get that rest accordingly when you can. Now, at this bottom corner, we have the Roman numeral of XIV. So to me, that represents number 14. So I'd like you to research the angel number of number 14, as I feel that that will resonate with you also at this moment in time. So let's take a look into the card. Around the edge, we've got this beautiful colour. To me, it's a red moving into orange. So that is talking about being more present. It's referring to your root chakra, being grounded there as well, setting boundaries in your life, and just having to make certain tweaks in your life. What you enjoy now is certainly not something that you used to enjoy. And so your tastes are changing. The colour of orange would indicate, I feel, is referring to the sacral chakra. So the area just below your belly button. Again, it can correspond with lots of energy shifts and changes, helping to catapult you moving forward, that new beginnings that we was talking about earlier. Also that feeling of discomfort with the foods that you're eating there this week. So I feel that's what that represents as well. So let's take a look into the artwork. We've got these two individuals there, two masculine energies. So it's telling you to look at the masculine energy, whether you're male, whether you're female. It's the part of you that likes to be organized, that likes to get things moving, projects underway, and also likes to have a plan and move forward and just take that confidence back. It's referring to that. The fact that there's two masculine energies here as well would indicate that that maybe there's too much masculine energy within yourself this week, and you may need to look at balancing that. So look at your sensitivity. And so when you're making those leaps and strides forward in your life, make sure that you're also listening to your heart and following that sensitivity, as that balanced with the leadership role will help you push forward this week. Now, as you can see, one of the masculine energies is actually sat on a tree stump there. So that would indicate a time for rest as well, contemplation, and also, recalibrating your energies. As you can see, the tree stump is in Mother Earth with the roots diving deep into Mother Earth. So that would indicate grounding your energies and also being more present. As you can see, both of these masculine energies are moving. They're looking off into the distance, so they're not entirely present. So I feel as though it's telling you the opposite, to actually be more present. Otherwise, you'll miss the opportunities that are right under your nose. With this gentleman's holding the globe, the world, and that old-fashioned song, you've got the whole world in your hands. So to me, that indicates you've got choices to make. Only you can, the opportunities are there. Only you can decide what you want to do. There's going to be support there for you as well. And you also need to extend that olive branch of friendship and make those old connections matter again, bringing old friends into the foreground again, re-establishing that connection that you strongly once had there as well. So that's what I'm picking up for this week's energy forecast reading. I do hope that's resonated with you. Thank you so much for liking, hearting, commenting and sharing. If you've enjoyed what you've seen on here and you would like a one-to-one private reading, a 12-month recorded forecast reading, then please do get in touch with my website, www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, or you can find me on Facebook at Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium and make your booking and request there. In the meantime, catch me every Monday at 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on pulsetalkradio.com with my show From Beyond with Glenn Boddice. Take care and God bless. Well, it sounds like we're in for a fascinating week this week, full of expansion for everybody that's listening. I hope you've enjoyed this week's show content. I know we've dived a little bit deeper than maybe we have done in the past, and you may want to listen back to this episode at some point, and you can do that on my website as well, www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, and just simply click on the radio tab, and all of the previous episodes are on there for you to review and listen back to. Numerous content and are covered in every episode, so please feel free to have a look around and have a listen, and if you like it, then please do share it as well. And so I do hope you've found great benefit in today's show. If you have any show suggestions, any ideas, or if you'd like to share any of your stories or encounters, whether that's paranormal, self-help or spiritual development, then please do get in contact with me either via my website, www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, or at my email, glennboddice@live.co.uk. It would be absolutely incredible to hear from you and share some of your encounters on an episode on this radio show. So in the meantime, have a wonderful week, whatever it is you're doing this week. And it would be fantastic for you to tune in again next week at pulsetalkradio.com at 4 p.m. on a Monday. And you can catch me there. So whatever it is you're doing, make sure you're having a fantastic week and you're looking after you. Take care, everybody. God bless and see you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium